Hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Dimitri and this is Value Cars Australia, and today we are once again sitting in my Haval H6 and we'll go for a drive very shortly. But we're not going to be talking about Haval H6, we're going to be reflecting on my very recent Tank 300 test drive. And before you tell me, Dimitri, you already shared early impressions from visiting the car yard as you were sitting inside of Tank 300, why do this video again? Well, it's different. I now have test driven the car and I've seen a couple of things that I have not seen by sitting in Tank 300. Yeah, so this is what this video is about, and I'll try and make it as factual as I can. First fact, the Tank 300 infotainment electronic system still has exactly the same menu of intelligent driving options. Yes, including the lane keep assist and emergency lane keep assist. Lane keep assist, before you tell me it can be turned off, yes, lane keep assist is useless and it can be turned off permanently in the menu in Tank 300 as well as Haval H6. However, emergency lane keep assist system is exactly the same menu item in Tank 300 as it is here. It can be turned off, but it doesn't stay off. It's exactly the same setting. It's exactly the same software. Looks like overall the software of infotainment screen and stuff is a bit different in Tank 300, so it's a little bit better. You know, looks like it's a little bit lifted up in terms of the color scheme, just the theme that's applied to the visuals. That's cool, but I have not had Tank 300 in my hands long enough to actually test cruise control and how invasive, really, if invasive at all, that newer version of the software of emergency lane keeping and other intelligent driving kind of controls are in Tank 300 compared to this. But it scares me a tiny bit because it does look the same as Haval H6 from the surface, from what I've seen. Okay, that's the first fact for you. Something that I obviously could not have seen just by sitting in the car and looking at it from the outside. Second thing, which was very, very important, and I'm trying to right now, as I consider selling this car, as I consider irrationally adding $10,000–$15,000 to my budget and buying Tank 300, because I do like the car, I really like Tank 300, but this is what I'm kinda now struggling with after having test driven the car. It's how the blinkers work. Would you believe that? It's how the blinkers work in Tank 300. First of all, in Haval H6, when you move the stalk of the blinker, like say up or down, so you indicate left or you indicate right, the stalk moves into position and stays in that position for as long as you need it to. Then you move it back and it moves back. Yeah, it gives you as a driver full control over when you indicate, when you stop indicating, no matter how subtle your movement of the steering wheel is. That is important. What Tank 300 and what GWM implemented in Tank 300 for some, excuse me, stupid reason, oh my god, is that the stalk moves into starting to indicate and it doesn't change mechanically somewhere there, the hinge, it doesn't change its position. It does not allow you to keep it there as long as you want to keep it there and then gently just unclick it. What instead the car does, and what the design appears to be supporting, is that you indicate, it starts blinking, and it will continue blinking like this. It will continue doing this without indicating to you, like cognitively, without indicating to you as a driver that it is in indication position. It just sort of starts indicating, okay? And then the car basically waits for a strong enough move of the steering wheel left or right in order to undo that move. Like, I hope I'm explaining it right. I'm not a specialist in indicators and blinkers, but I've driven many cars. So in order for this to work and in order for it to not annoy an average Joe or Jane out there, you start indicating, you do a pretty substantial turn, like you do a 90-degree turn, then you start straightening up the vehicle in to go straight again as you have turned, and the indicator, the blinker, will unclick itself, so to speak, and stop blinking. If you however are doing what we do a lot more often on the road, if you're merging, changing lanes, if you're changing lanes, if you're merging traffic on the main road, you're supposed to indicate to the other traffic that you're changing lanes, don't you? But the movement of the steering wheel is so subtle in that moment, right? Especially if you're going fast. There is basically no movement of the steering wheel, which automatically makes that system completely faulty. Like, not faulty, but like it works as it's intended to be, but it doesn't do the job that you expect it to do. You have started indicating, but then automatically it will not unclick itself. It will not stop indicating from just a subtle movement back into the lane. I honestly hope that I have explained it correctly to you. Now, how does a person who is still a good driver, who wants to indicate when they're changing lanes, not just when they're doing a 90-degree turn, how do they go about it in Tank? And I focused, my whole test drive pretty much I focused on that. That was front and center of my attention, because that was the main and only annoyance that I experienced straight up as I started driving it, okay? Well, you have to touch that stalk, that stalk again. However, the problem is that because it doesn't have a specifically designated position at the hinge, yeah, it doesn't do that. You basically touched it, it started indicating, it still sits there. You need to touch it again to undo the indication. Problem is, if you touch it ever so slightly more than you intended to, it will start indicating the opposite way. I will explain again. I'm sorry. I have to explain this so that you understand what I'm talking about and how annoying it really is. You start indicating, you veered again, you changed the lane. It did not automatically stop indicating because the movement of the steering wheel is practically not there. You touch the stalk to stop indicating, but it starts indicating opposite way, simply because like you touched it ever so slightly strongly enough, and it now thinks you want to turn that way while you were turning this way at first. It is really a serious, in my humble opinion, it is a serious user experience design flaw that I can tell you right now, if certain amount of passion comes through in my voice, it is not even just passion, it is frustration because I'm in love with the car otherwise. But even before I fork out extra 10 grand, sell this car, and fork out extra 10, 15 grand to buy a nice Tank 300, I already know that that bloody blinker, that is one of the most interactive elements of your car. If there is statistics somewhere, which doesn't exist, I'm sure, and someone said to us, guess what part of the car you're interacting with the most after like the steering wheel in the car? And it probably would be your blinkers, unless you live in Queensland. Yeah. So that is, I spent like the whole video talking about these two things. Electronic lane keep assist system is there and it worries me. Blinkers straight up stupidly implemented, and I straight up think it's gonna be a problem. Yeah. These are two things really, my friends, that I got out of that test drive, because it is very easy to look for validation of why you would buy a car or buy anything. You chose a certain phone, you chose a certain car, you chose a certain piece of clothing, and you look for validation of why others say, oh yeah, it costs this much, but it's worth it, it's great. What I look for usually is, let's say you're researching a new destination or a hotel somewhere, you're flying to Bali, as I do often. One thing you can do, as majority of bogans are doing, you look for validation of why it's good, because you thought it's good. That's how our brain works. Smart people, however, of course they want to go somewhere nice, so of course they like look very quickly, spend 5 seconds validating that it's a good choice. But then they spend 99% of their time trying to look for bad reviews, trying to look for what could be wrong with it. Because going on a holiday these days, flying all the way to Bali and being there for 10 days is an investment of money. Exchanging a perfectly good, nice Haval H6 for a Tank 300 is a massive investment of money as well, unless you are just literally, I don't know, very rich and whatever, I'm jealous. So this is where I hope, it doesn't sound like raining on the parade, but hope you understand my frustration, because I am already mentally catching myself trying to validate why spending extra 10-15 grand on Tank 300 compared to this vehicle is worth it. And I am finding certain things, and I'm honest with myself. I'm saying to myself, Dmitry, will this blinker, will this electronic lane keep assist system again annoy you, my man? And the answer is, unfortunately, at this stage, probably yes. It probably will. I am looking forward to a slightly closer, more time spent with Tank. I'm trying to find good time with Suttons, with my friends there who give me the car for reviews and for test drives and stuff like that. I'm looking to do yet another more deep dive. I want to spend like half an hour at least driving on the road. And don't laugh there, try and get the car for longer than that. I wish you luck. You know, I want to spend more time with the car to soak it more in and kind of just try and maybe find my own rhythm, my own kind of how much of that touching of the blinker is required. Maybe I can get used to it. But over my 20-25 minutes test drive together with my wife was in the car as well, in case you want this opinion to be validated by proxy of me, by someone else. She was of the same opinion. She also said, what the hell is this with this blinker? Yeah, because she's driving MG ZST, and MG ZST doesn't have that stupid system. It also, stock also moves of the blinker and everything is fine. But this we both struggled with. Honestly, we did. So I hope you don't see it as a rain on the parade, but I hope you see it as valuable insight into something that you should absolutely validate for yourself. My always advice is, listen to me. Do your, like, listen to people who are honest rather than just paid by the brands or by the you know, dealerships, whatever. I don't think dealerships pay people, but I think that brands certainly do. Listen to someone who is honest, but then look for those little gems of information, hopefully gems, that tell you to focus on something and check and validate it for yourself when you go for a test drive. So I told you about blinkers. I told you about ELK, electronic lane keep assist system. Now go to the dealership, go for a test drive and pay attention. And that hopefully will either solidify your decision to buy the car, or it will tell you, save your 10 grand, get an H6. H6 is perfect, especially if you don't need to drive a Jeep-like box that I, for some reason, decided for myself that I need to. And now I'm struggling with that thought, right? I hope it was useful. Please give me a like if it was, and subscribe for more videos from me. As you know, I discuss and review cars, my own cars, cars that other people review in Russia primarily, because they put cars through such paces. I love their reviews. They are really honest in their feedback. So I do hope you enjoy being part of our little club. Always give videos a like to show your support. It goes a long way and is very much appreciated. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be speaking with you again about something else cars related, no doubt, very soon. Goodbye for now.